Amanita muscaria, also known as fly agaric, is the most iconic mushroom in the world, with an ancient prehistory. This fame of this mushroom transcends time, with its iconic image still displayed in contemporary movies, video games, children's books, and holiday art, yet most people are unaware of its true significance. Fly agaric has a long history of use in religious ceremonies, particularly in Asia. For over 4,000 years, it was the ingredient in a sacred and hallucinogenic ritual drink, called soma in India and Iran, while the Siberian shamans would give it out as a gift in late December. In most writings you can find it as a dangerous, toxic mushroom, although some people consume it as food or as medicine. The mushroom presents us with a long list of fascinating issues: its pharmacology, its cultural representation and role in folklore, and its ostensible status as an ancient religious catalyst, to name just a few. Amanita muscaria is legal in most places, but certainly not all. So should you consume it for medicine or psychedelic? I can't say yes, but also I can't say no. You have to make a decision based on your own research.
If you choose to collect and consume, it is crucial that you must be able to recognize it 100% sure. In the Amanita family there are some very poisonous, even fatal mushrooms, such as Amanita phalloides, commonly known as the dead cap, and several species of all-white mushrooms in the Amanita genus referred as destroying angels. It is a large, conspicuous mushroom. Amanita muscaria is generally common and numerous where it grows, and is often found in groups with basidiocarps in all stages of development. Fly agaric fruiting bodies emerge from the soil looking like white eggs. After emerging from the ground, the cap is covered with numerous small white to yellow pyramid-shaped warts. These are remnants of the universal veil, a membrane that encloses the entire mushroom when it is still very young. Dissecting the mushroom at this stage reveals a characteristic yellowish layer of skin under the veil, which helps identification. As the fungus grows, the red color appears through the broken veil and the warts become less prominent. They do not change in size, but are reduced relative to the expanding skin area. The cap changes from globose to hemispherical, and finally to plate-like and flat in mature specimens. Fully grown, the bright red cap is usually around 8 to 20 centimeters, which is 3 to 8 inch in diameter, although larger specimens have been found. The red color may fade after rain and in older mushrooms. Amanita muscaria is typically wild foraged, not cultivated. The fungus is ectomycorrhizal, which means it survives only in a symbiotic relationship with a nearby plant. The most common hosts are trees, birches, pines, spruces, firs and larches, yet, a wide variety of species are compatible with Amanita muscaria. The mushroom is partial to certain shrubs and other plants in certain climates and environmental conditions. Amanita muscaria is native to temperate or boreal forest regions of the northern hemisphere. However, it has been introduced to New Zealand, Australia, South America, and South Africa, so almost grows everywhere.
The chemical composition of the mushroom depends on the substrates, atmospheric conditions, age, and development stage. Mushrooms are rich in proteins, fats, carbohydrates, vitamins of group B, thiamine, riboflavin, pyridoxine, pantothenic acid, nicotinic acid, nicotinamide, folic acid and cobalamin, but also in ergosterol, biotin, phytoquinone, and tocopherols. The pharmacology of Amanita muscaria is not entirely understood. Two primary compounds, ibotenic acid and muscimol, are known to be responsible for its psychoactive effects. Ibotenic acid, a neurotoxin, serves as a prodrug to muscimol, with approximately 10 to 20% converting to muscimol after decarboxylation. Only 53 milligrams of muscimol are sufficient to produce psychoactive effects when ingested, while a dose of 93 milligrams produces a strong inebriation, including vomiting. Ibotenic acid and muscimol are structurally related. Muscimol, being structurally similar to GABA, is a potent GABA receptor agonist, while ibotenic acid is an agonist of NMDA glutamate receptors interactions causing the hallucinogenic effects observed during intoxication. In 1869, muscarine was isolated from European Amanita Muscaria and was for decades believed to be the main active substance. Muscarine is a selective cholinergic agonist suspected to contribute to the overall activity of Amanita muscaria. Muscarine is water-soluble and thermostable. This compound is unable to cross the blood-brain and blood-cerebrospinal fluid barriers, preventing potential effects on the acetylcholine receptors of the central nervous system. Although it is present as trace amounts in the basidiocarps, muscarine is notably responsible for the autonomic aspects of the symptoms. It is known to be responsible for reduced heart rate, lowering of blood pressure, vomiting, diarrhea, bradycardia, bronchuria, tearing, bronchospasm, salivation, pupil contraction and blurred vision.
Consumed in high dosage, symptoms involve a state of inebriation, hallucinations, restlessness, increased psychomotor drive, central nervous system depression, and gastrointestinal disturbance. The usual clinical course after ingestion of a fly agaric usually starts after 30 minutes with nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, cramps, tremor, ataxia, and incoordination. After 60 minutes, there is an apparition of an altered mental status characterized by declining senses, alternating between agitation and obtundation, and bizarre behaviors, involving disorientation and depersonalization. Hallucinations under the form of visual and auditory distortions are also common. Finally, later effects imply lethargy, followed by deep sleep. There is no existing antidote, as symptoms are both cholinergic and anticholinergic. Treatments after ingestion usually involve gastric lavage, use of activated charcoal, and symptomatic supportive care. However, the ingestion of a cap is very unlikely to lead to death, and fatal cases are very scarce. Still, a lethal dose for a human adult was calculated to be equivalent to ingesting 15 caps.
The mushroom is known as an effective bioaccumulator of vanadium, in an organometallic compound called amavadine, and other toxic metals such as mercury and selenium. Therefore, the repeated consumption of mushroom harvested in contaminated areas may result in chronic toxicity related to long-term exposure to heavy metals. Amanita muscaria is different from classical psychedelics such as psilocybin, LSD, DMT, and mescaline. It may not have the mind-manifesting qualities that classical psychedelics provide. Amanita is also prepared and dosed differently. It's no secret, fly agaric can inspire some challenging trips. But, an active community of consumers and enthusiasts celebrates this iconic fungus.
Although the Amanita experience can be unpredictable, safe use practices can reduce harm and limit opportunities for accidents and injuries. When prepared properly, some myco-enthusiasts even eat Amanita as a non-intoxicating edible mushroom. Just make sure you boil it enough and properly. Enthusiasts of its psychoactive potential have developed a series of best practices for safer tripping. Amanita experiences always come with risk. Like any other substance, the only way to avoid risk is by not eating it at all. But, if you choose to engage with the mushroom, one scholar recommends developing a relationship with Amanita muscaria before attempting to dive into a major experience. Starting with a low dose and increasing incrementally over time is a standard approach for engaging with psychoactive substances. Larger doses are more likely to cause intense experiences with greater safety concerns. Having a sober sitter is particularly important with this mushroom, particularly with larger doses. Amanita can inspire a dreamlike state, and one may be generally unaware of their surroundings while under this mushroom's influence. A sitter should help their counterpart avoid dangerous situations that may lead to accidental injury or death, like walking out in traffic, or falling asleep out in the cold.
Many Amanita enthusiasts prefer to work with this mushroom in smaller doses, which may be more therapeutic. Microdosing is using subperceptual doses of a compound to elicit an ongoing benefit. Amanita microdose is found helpful in healing for a broad range of conditions, including hormonal dysfunction, allergies, gingivitis, heartburn, eczema, psoriasis, depression, epilepsy, hypertension, insomnia, and migraine. Reports shows it is effective for pain relief and for interrupting addictions to alcohol, opiates, nicotine, caffeine, and other narcotics. Muscimol used in the study of stress, anxiety, and sleep in rodent research. Dosing Amanita is no easy task. Enthusiasts recommend between 1 and 3 grams of prepared mushroom, as a low or therapeutic dose. A threshold psychoactive dose is generally around 5 grams of prepared mushroom, but starting small is essential with this fungi. Low dose, a small or medium-size cap. Average dose, from 1 to 3 medium-size caps. High dose, 2 or more medium-sized caps. Mushrooms growing in the same environment can differ in potency.
It's not recommended to eat it fresh. Fly agaric mushrooms are typically dried before consumption. They're then either consumed dried or made into tea, but not an average tea. Amanita tea is often made by measuring out an appropriate dosage of dried mushroom, mixing it with citric acid, and simmering for 2 to 3 hours. The pH of the concoction should be below 3.0 during the brewing process, which is intended to convert the ibotenic acid into muscimol. Muscimol is more potent but may lack the gastrointestinal distress and neurotoxic risk of ibotenic acid, which is a topic of debate in the Amanita community. If somebody wants to preserve some ibotenic acid, then the tea is prepared the same way, but boiled for 20 minutes only. Enthusiasts enjoy to eat Amanita muscaria as a non-psychoactive edible mushroom. Typically they boil fresh mushroom in a large volume for a lengthy time twice, discarding the water each time, then cook it as a normal edible mushroom.
If you like this video or found it useful, please comment, like and share it. And subscribe to my channel to get notified when new videos are uploaded.